It's settled.
Well, I mean, this is negotiations. This is labor negotiations for you. Until it's a touchdown, don't count anything. Don't put up the scoreboard. I mean, there's leverage going on right now, whether it's individual leverage with Logan Mankins, Vincent Jackson, or if it's the players together. We all expected the players to have a vote yesterday. They didn't really do what we thought. So I think we're getting down to crunch time, because I think if it doesn't get done today, I think the Hall of Fame game's gone.
Now, if that Hall of Fame game is gone, how much money stands to be lost?
Well, about $1.3 million in ticket sales. Then you think about the fact that people might not go to Canton at all if they don't have that game.
Right.
Then you figure that there's some compensation from the NFL because you miss out on the first preseason game. It's a TV game. That's never been figured out before, at least since the NFL was the NFL. So there's probably between $20 and $70 million on the line between what the NFL would owe and kind of the impact of Canton, Ohio, if people don't show up.
Now let's talk about some of the other financial things that people aren't looking at. Who else stands to lose money if this thing doesn't get rolling in a
Well, obviously, I mean, obviously the people who work in the stadiums, the teams. I mean, I don't think that there's been that much loss. There's been some furloughs, but as far as the sponsors go, if they didn't do a deal before, the NFL's still going to come back as strong as it was. So I don't really think there's going to be much lost. I think we got to worry about a couple preseason games for sure, because if something goes off here and goes off the rails, and we talk about another week and a half, 2 weeks, don't forget there are players who haven't really worked out that much because their agents have told them, if you get hurt, your money's gone. So it should be interesting to see how much players really have to practice and not get hurt. I think that's going to be a test too.
And also, what about some of these cities like Cortland, New York, for instance, where the Jets have been going there for the past, I think, 10 years, and they're not going there now? How much would they stand to lose?
I mean, obviously,
some of these other places?
Obviously, there are cities that are very small cities that get a lot because of the workouts, I mean, their economic impact is, I mean, they're pretty much done. They can count this season goodbye from their standpoint.
And one last thing, while we're here, and I know you're on the NBA stuff too, how much of a difference is this potential situation from what the NBA is going to be looking at?
I think I'm the only guy who's been at both the NBA and the NFL negotiations. It's like, this is a joke. This one's not really the real, numbers. It doesn't really matter. And when you look at the NBA, I mean, there are real losses here that, very serious, and that's why the NBA is going to miss games, because in order for David Stern to get the leverage he needs to get, and the owners to get the leverage, they're going to have to sit out some games. But they also have a casual fan that they have to watch, and they have momentum that they could lose if they lose an entire season. And
one more thing came to my head. Recently, the Forbes had the 50 most valuable franchises in the world, and all 32 NFL teams made it. Just that alone basically says the Cincinnati Bengals are worth more than the Los Angeles Lakers. What does that say about the NBA?
Well,
the NFL.
I think it says more about the NFL, which is basically because of their revenue sharing deal, and because each team's getting $100 million off the national TV money. I think that's why the buy-in is so much more in the NFL. That's why, in order for you to really lose some interest in the NFL, we'd be talking about maybe 3 years worth of lockouts, because it is so high, it is such a robust business.